get height. I can lift, but yeah, it's something I'm feeling good about coming into state, and something I feel like I can pop a big one now.
Yeah, neither one of those things very good for a long jumper. So
Not at all.
Healthy is good. Yeah. Seth, how about you? How's this season gone, and what does it mean to you as a junior to get into state? You went 6'5" at the Masters with the PR.
Well, it's pretty big to me. This is my first year jumping, so I've never really been in this position before. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that I do well.
Okay, we got to stop. First year jumping, and you're clearing 6'5". How does that happen? I mean, are you just a guy who was able to jump high, and somebody said you need to try this?
Well, my coaches, I've had a lot of help. At the beginning of the year, I was jumping well, just being able to jump, but my coaches have been able to help me, and I've been getting better every day. So
did you know you'd be that good at it? I mean,
no, I had no idea. So
well,
I tried.
The crazy part about it too is Jackson Carroll was actually one of the guys that almost made it to state last year in the high jump for Liberty. Hamstring injury, I think it was for him, so he actually pulled out of it this season and concentrated more on running events and the hurdles. Seth, for you, Cameron McGlasson, Omar Rivera were there with you all last year, and I know one guy, Jeremiah Foster, who won the section title last year, decided not to compete in the event either. As you kind of went through the year and you saw Omar here and there, but you saw Cameron every week, how did you gauge yourself against them, and when did you know that you were finally going to hit that big mark and go 2 inches higher than you had ever gone before at the biggest meet?
Well, it was just I had a good day, and they it happens. They were doing all right, and I was watching them. They were jumping high, and I just kept on working, and eventually was able to get that height.
And when you knew you were going to state, what went through your mind?
I was pretty blown away. I had no idea that was going to happen. So.
Rich, I have to imagine. I mean, obviously you focus on the biggest of the big stories, and we're media. We understand that's how everybody understands that's how it works. But it's got to be. I mean, one of the cool things about state is how many great athletes are there. And the small successes. Here's a guy who had never jumped before. Here's a guy who had injuries all year, and they're able to overcome that thing and get to that stage. And whether they win state championships or not, that's got to be pretty cool for somebody like you who sees everything to just hear those stories too.
Definitely. I mean, when he mentioned his first year jumping, he's clear 6'5". Even the really good athletes, their first year they're jumping, if they're lucky, they might hit 6'3". 6'4" is a ceiling. 6'5" is pretty impressive first time jumping, first year. So that's a rarity. But when these kids go out to the California State meet, the one thing that they don't really realize, most other states across the country, you have multiple divisions.
Right.
You have so much talent spread out. California, it's super tough. It's all one division, the best of the best. And when they're out there, all these kids, they're out there in the toughest state meet in the country. It's a pretty amazing experience at a first-class facility. So it's quite a lifetime experience. It's definitely. So year one is amazing.
Yeah, we talk about the same thing in wrestling, how I just hope they never change it. The one-class California State Championship, man, it means so much to be up on that medal stand, especially if you're on the top of it.
Quincy, last year, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Quincy Jounty was there, Lawrence White, Dennis Hicks, all coming from Kern County. 2 of them medaled at state last year. For you, kind of carrying the baton in the horizontal jumps, does that mean something to you to be the one guy from the county kind of taking this baton from the last 2 years? And we talk about Bryce Huggins a year before medaling twice. Do you take that as pride in yourself to really kind of take this to the next level for the county?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, my first year jumping, I saw Scotty, and then we knew Scotty had passed the baton to Bryce, and we saw Bryce jump, and then Bryce, I gave it to Lawrence and Dennis, and then Dennis, he actually texted me a couple days ago and said, "It's on you now, man. Like keep the fire going for Bakersfield." And I said, "Yeah, I got you, man. For the 661, I'm going to rep it." But yeah, that means the world to us that Kern County has always produced these really good horizontal jumpers, and this year is me, and then see what I can do, see if I can uphold the standard that we've set every year, year in and year out.
Rich, we had the conversation yesterday about the toughness that the Central Valley and Kern County really has compared to the rest of the state. We were talking in terms of the 800, really. But when you look at it, I mean, can you reiterate just what you see at the state level when you see kids from Kern County coming to Arcadia, seeing them at state and different events around, and just the difference that you see out of Kern County kids that you don't see maybe from other state around the state?
Just the climate here is so different. It's so warm throughout the year. I mean, it's very hard to get kids from certain parts of the state to work out unless it's ideal conditions. And they live by the beach. They live somewhere, right here. A lot of the kids, they do their best training, or their pertinent training when it's really hot. That kind of stuff where other athletes avoid, these athletes thrive in, or they do it because they have to, but it gets them set at the state meet. The 800 is the least enjoyable of the distance races because, one, it's the shortest distance where you can change lanes. The strategy comes into play. And number two, unlike the 16 and 32, you make one error in the race, you're done. There's no time to recover in the 800. So it takes a certain type of athlete. The kids coming from Bakersfield or from Kern County area, if they get to the state meet, they're already better prepared from obstacles than kids from other parts of the state. In the 800, which is the most grueling distance event, I think that's why you've seen in recent years this area thrive so well, because they have kids that have been put in the toughest situation preparation-wise, and in the state meet's not a problem for them.
Well, I got to figure too, Quincy and Seth, when they're out there jumping on that turf tomorrow, that you guys are acclimated to that 100-degree heat and probably 115 on it, but you get a kid from Oceanside or from Hayward up in the Bay Area, they're not used to that. Do you feel like maybe that's an advantage for you, Quince?
Oh, yeah, that's a big advantage, man. I mean, we jump in the Bakersfield heat all the time. So us going to Buchanan, it's being 100 degrees. It's like everyday weather to us. So it's like it doesn't affect our performance as much as it would for someone who's used to 70-degree weather, cloudy, overcast.
Well, and Seth, the other thing, too, is 2 weeks ago, you got to jump in that pit. You kind of got the feel for what that stadium is going to be like tomorrow night. Do you think that also helps prepare you as well, that you kind of got that feel long before the guys from Southern California or San Diego, the Bay Area or Sacramento have come in?
Yeah, I think it's a big advantage because I already have a feel for the track and what I'm going on. So
this is a big moment. Yeah.
Quincy, speaking of big moments, you graduate tonight, right?
Right.
Yeah, so congratulations on that. First of all, what is this weekend emotionally going to be? I mean, just a roller coaster of between graduation and everything that comes with that, and then going to your first state meet and the pressure that comes with that, and then really kind of being done after this weekend and looking ahead to your future. What do you expect from the weekend?
I expect all the pieces to fall in place. I expect all the hard work to pay off. I expect all the preparation to fall in line and us just to go out there and perform like we always do and have rep Bakersfield well. I expect big things. I expect great running. I expect great jumping. It's just the highest standard we have in Bakersfield. I expect it to be no different this year.
Oh, that's well said. And Seth, again, first year jumping. I don't know that you could have. You said it yourself. You couldn't really have expected to make it this far, make it to state. What are you going to be thinking about as you first run out there, get introduced in the high jump, and even when you're sitting there in between jumps on the infield and kind of watching one of the greatest meets in amateur track go by?
Well, I'm going to try my hardest no matter what, and I'm just going to go at it like any other meet I've done this year, and I just hope to do my best and wish the best for all the other jumpers and sprinters.
Just kind of keep it in perspective. I like it. Rich, once again, you said there's a lot of things to watch this week. Where do you expect maybe a surprise to come from? Do you have an idea of where maybe people will what we'll be talking about either tomorrow night or Saturday night that we weren't expecting?
I think the boys 1600. That's an event that's kind of somewhat open in the eyes of some. There's a kid coming down who I think is phenomenal down the road, Liam Anderson from Redwood, North Coast section. Unfortunately, he's trying the 1632 double, which is like suicide in California because there's so much talent, so much depth in the distances. It's a tough challenge. This might be his coming out party. People don't know about him. This might be his coming out party.
All right. That's Redwood from the North Coast section. So
yeah, not the Visalia Redwood, as we all know.
Keep an eye on that. Yeah. Well, hey, guys, we appreciate you being here. Quincy Hicks of Highland, graduating tonight again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Seth Krauss of Liberty, competing in his first state meet as well. And Rich Gonzalez, PrepCalTrack.com. Check his stuff out, and he'll be covering the meet at large if you're interested in that while we're on the Kern County side.
He's got the big preview in the media guide.
That's right, in the program tomorrow.
So we appreciate you doing that,
Rich's
too.
work. Yeah. All right, guys, we'll be back on BVarsity Live with the second hour of the State Track Super Show right after this.